Let's take a look at the top ETFs on the ASX. This is a highly requested video from you guys, so be sure to like it up down below and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that bell notification icon as well. I've got a little twist on today's video. Considering the amount of ETF ASX videos there are online, I thought what I'll do is go through and find out exactly which ETFs people are talking about and then break down the top few of those so that we can add that to our watch list and continue our research into finding the best ETFs. And in this video, I'm going to go through my first steps that I take whenever researching a new asset to include into my portfolio. So if you like the sound of that, make sure you've liked up the video. You know that this is not financial advice, it's for educational purposes only. And of course, the timestamps are in the description if you want to refer back to the video at any point in time. Now, with that said, let's dive across into the main sector of the video. Here we are at the beginning, and the beginning always includes a plan for me. I talk about it in every video, so it's only natural that I should include it at the beginning of this. Now, what I want to do with the plan is just have some easy guidelines to follow so that I can flick between each of the different ETFs quickly at a glance so that I can hone in on one or two later down the track. I've got a huge list to get through here, as you'll see in a moment, and I'll show you how I get to that list. And then I just want to go through the top ones that have come up on the list and then basically just break those down, as you can see here, with how I'm going to rank these. So before I do, how do I begin? But before that, which ETFs are you looking at? Let me know in the comments down below, because I can then add those to our weekly live stream and we can go through those together. And I can make a future video on particular ETFs that you guys have commented down below. So which ETFs in the comments? How do I begin? Now, I'm guessing most of us will go to YouTube and type in something like top ASX ETFs. Basically, we want to invest in ETFs, so why not look in YouTube? So what I've done here is type that in, and I've got a list of videos that pop up as my first results, the first search results that come up. And I've clicked on each of these videos across the top here, so I've got all of them open, and then I've gone through and picked each of the ETFs that each of these YouTubers are talking about, and I've put those into a spreadsheet that we can see right here. Now, this spreadsheet has 26 different ETFs on it, and what I want to do next is figure out how many times they've been talked about, so that I'm just using that as a starting point. Now, I want to find out how many times they've been talked about, because my theory is if they're talked about more often, they're more popular, and maybe they're worth considering, maybe not. But I need a starting point, and that's the starting point I'm going to go with for today. So I've gone through each of these videos. Now, I've got my good friend Justin. His videos come up quite often, maybe because he's doing a great job in the YouTube SEO search results, or maybe it's because I search his name quite often and it comes up in my search results. But nonetheless, these are the videos that have popped up and these are the results that I have. So the 26 ETFs are down the side, and the results show VAS as being the top mentioned ETF. Now, I've got another little section I want to add on to VAS in just a moment as to why it's something that I possibly wouldn't invest in, even though it's the top one. So I know I'm contradicting myself already early on, but it is the most popular, so we're going to have a look at that anyway. The next few that we have on the list are VAP, Asia, and IVV. Now, these two also have 3 hits, 1, 2, 3 each, but then there's a negative one on them because on Family Finance Channel, she talks about why she wouldn't invest in them. And I think there is some legitimacy to why you wouldn't invest in these. So they just dip out of my top 5 or so that I'm going to start with. But then we've also got this one at the top here, NDQ, that's come up 3 times as well. So let's get through these now, because I think this video is probably going to get a little bit on in time. That's the first step. I search top ASX, I go through and see what has been mentioned, put them into a spreadsheet and just see which ones we can start with. So next thing, how are we going to rank these? I'm simply going to use the macro trend, so look at the charts on the monthly and the weekly. I'm going to look at some support and resistance with fibs, and then decide if it's in a strong position or a weak position according to price only. For further analysis, which is beyond the scope of this video, we can look at the country that this ETF is based in. Something like NDX, of course, is the US, and it's looking at tech stocks over there. We can look at the sector that it's in. We can look at what companies are within the ETF itself. We can look at dividends, and we can go further into some more fundamental research. But for now, the first step I want to take to basically make the process a little bit easier so that I'm not overwhelmed with the hundreds, if not thousands of ETFs out there. But the first thing I want to do is just look at the chart and see if it's worth my time investigating any further. Okay, so let's start from the top, and the top is VAS. Now, I want to bring up this article I found on Wealth Within. I do like following these guys and their technical analysis. They're the only other people I have seen in Australia talking about technical analysis on the ASX. If you know of others, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to check out more information on this. But essentially, VAS, Vanguard Australian Shares Index ETF, follows the top 300. Now, their point here is that it actually lags the benchmark itself. So VAS NAV, as you can see on this chart, is slightly behind the benchmark. So since inception, you're down by 0.17. Not much of a difference, but it's just something to consider, especially seeing as we're told ETFs are the be all and end all, and it's the best thing for new people to get into. I don't have anything against it myself. I just think it's worthy looking at the other side of the argument at times. So this would be something that I would have a look at and just really have a look at whether ETFs are as good as they crack up to be. All right, so let's have a quick look at the chart of VAS. Now we're going to type that in, VAS on tradingview.com. If you want, I've got a link in the description to tradingview.com. I am using the free version, but the paid version takes the ads off it and just makes it a little bit easier to use. So click on that, use it, see how you work with it, and go from there. VAS, I've got my fib on here at the moment, and like I said, I'm just looking at these and comparing the top 5 or 6 that I had there. Fib from the top to the bottom, halfway point is here at 50%. We're above halfway, it's a sign of strength. If we're below it, it's a sign of weakness. Generally speaking, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's just one metric to use so that we can then add it together in our list and just see which one is going to be stronger than the other. So right now, VAS looks reasonably good. It's above its 50%. It's broken the highs that it's currently set in July and August. And now, hopefully in this month of October, we close above that. Right now, VAS doesn't look so bad, so I'll keep that as a maybe on my list. So what I'll do is go back to here, and I'll just put a maybe on this side here for now. All right, next one on our list is Asia. So let's check out Asia on tradingview.com. Tap here, ASIA, and we want to get the ASX version. Click on that. And these are my lines that I've put in previously because I want to check these out. Now, we have a very strong uptrend, as you guys can see from this. I'm using a fib in a slightly different way just to see the extent of the current bull run. Essentially, this move is what I'm measuring. So the previous move from August of 2019 into the top of January 2020, and then projecting that from the crash low of March and just seeing how far it's run. Now, it's done 161% of that run, which generally means it's time for a reversal, but it may have reversed on in August, had its little pullback, and now it's continuing up again. We're going to see where this closes for October, but as you can see, this move is getting on now. I don't think it's over long term, but maybe it needs a little bit more time just to reset as the price ranges get narrower as the market increases, which is seen as a potential bearish sign. That's just for the short term, maybe in the next few months. Overall, it looks reasonably strong long term. So I'm going to put that on my watch list as something that I would prefer over VAS, and I'll say yes, because I'm only comparing the top 6 or so here, 6 or 7. All right, next one is VAP. So let's go across again, have a look at VAP, V-A-P, and find this one. All right, so this is VAP, and VAP is looking weaker than Asia, looks similar to VAS, and maybe it's something that I would keep on my list because it's above 50%. I think it's to do with property, seeing it's got prop here. Again, we'd have to look at that in more detail. I'm pretty sure this is a property trust. So I do like the look of property long term. That's something that I would consider. Previous month, high volume on an up month, lower close. That all looks reasonably bullish to me. So I'm going to go back to my list here and get VAP and put a yes because I like it more than VAS. Next one, NDQ. All right, so you can see how quickly we're going through these just to get an idea because we have so many on that list and we can't spend an hour or 6 hours on each one. NDQ, strong uptrend. This is, again, nearly at all-time highs. All I've got here are some support and resistance levels. A support being around 25, which was the old high in February, and another resistance at 28, which was the high put in last month in September, which was at $28.11. And it touched at $28.12, so it did break it by 1 cent, but we're currently under that at the moment. NDQ would go on my list. I think it's going to move around here, sort of have a bounce around, but that's beyond the scope of what we were looking to judge each of these ETFs on. I've got it as a support and resistance. It looks stronger than VAS. It looks stronger than VAP that we were just looking at. So I'm going to put it as a yes for now. The last few we have on the list is IVV. Now, IVV looks weaker than the NDQ that we were just looking at. However, it is coming up to its all-time highs again. I would have to look further into this. Just at a brief glance, which is what we're doing in this video. Support around 460s, resistance around the 500-ish level, maybe the 490s. So I'm going to put a maybe on this one only because it hasn't broken its highs and I think we have better options than the IVV. So let's put maybe on this one. All right, guys, so that's the top 5 ETFs out of this list of 26 ETFs that have come off YouTube videos, which have ranked really high in the search results on YouTube. Now, I'm going to leave it at 5 because I've got 3 that I like the look of and 2 which are maybes. So I'm going to do further research into these top 3 if I was considering them to invest in for my watch list. Now, the next parts I would look at further analysis. Which country are they based in? Because I want to understand the economics of that country. Which sector are these ETFs in? And which companies are in the ETFs? Do they produce a dividend? Because maybe this is part of my portfolio where I want to receive a dividend. And on top of that, I just want to see how long the ETF has been around for. So I'm just going to put in history here. So there's my top 5 ETFs on the ASX. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I felt like it was important to do a video in this manner as opposed to adding to more of the noise in the ETF space. I want to try and clear some of the noise and be able to break these down and analyze them ourselves. If you like the sound of that, let me know in the comments down below. Like the video up if you found some value from this, and let me know of your ETFs that you are looking at, and we can do further analysis on those. So be sure to comment on those. It's a common saying on YouTube to do your own research, so I thought I would add a video going through a few step-by-step examples on how to actually do that. If you guys wanted to get a link to tradingview.com so you can use it for yourself, it's in the description down below. The free version is suitable for what we did today, but if you want to get the paid version to remove the ads and add in extra functionalities, it's also a good idea. Guys, I'll catch you at the next video. Be sure to comment and like if you found some use from it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you at the next one. But until then, have more fun to get more done.